Hey everyone, we lost to City. Quite inevitable. We certainly are not good enough. We've said this before countless times on the channel. We are going to be speaking about just how far we are from City in terms of competing with him. And of course, the media does what the media does. He is under pressure. Erik Ten Hag, there are so many media outlets talking about who his replacement will be, talking about Ineos wanting to bring their own person in, the players, again, leaking information and leaking things like they don't want certain training sessions, they want extra days off. They feel that these training sessions are too tough and it's too focused on fitness. You know, it's the same thing that keeps happening all the time. We've heard these stories all the time. When the team plays bad, it's always the manager's fault. We heard it under Van Gaal, we heard it under Mourinho, we heard it under Ole, and it's the same thing under Ten Hag. Yes, we lost to City. There are every team in the Premier League has lost to City. Let's be real about that. It's not impossible. It's not something that is that bad. We certainly kept them out. They could have scored more, but we defended well in the first half. We certainly had moments of good joy. Rashford getting a fantastic goal. And at that moment, you thought, you know what? Build from this. And we had the opportunities. If Rashford, runs away there and heads the ball correctly, he's in one-on-one and he probably scores in 2-0. You think there's something to build upon here. We get another opportunity to make it 2-0, and again, Rashford fluffs his lines. The first half, we were quite good and we were leading. We seemed to have a platform. And in the second half, you thought, okay, fine, same thing, and then, try and get another goal. But they shut us down completely. We simply had no way to play out. We couldn't play that quick ball that Bruno was playing to Rashford. And after Ten Hag made the changes of taking Rashford, Evans off, etc., we were much weaker. And the inevitability of City scoring just seeped in. We started getting tired, and because they were pressurizing us from the first minute, eventually they started finding space because some of our players were tired, and it led to us conceding. Onana was absolutely colossal in goal, and we probably would have conceded more if not for him. Rafael Varane, Johnny Evans were doing excellently, and we probably might have been a bit better off in the second half had Johnny Evans stayed on. Had Rashford stayed on, we maybe would have had that extra outlet. There's so many things that would have changed the game for us, but didn't. There was a moment before City equalized to make it 1-1. They are talking about Walker fouling Rashford. And whether it is a foul or not, however you look at it, again, VAR inconsistencies, the referee not being consistent. I thought it was a foul, and if that was a foul, whether it was a foul with the red card, as a consequence or a yellow card, City don't equalize, but they probably would have still pressurized us. And that is how you have to look at it. Regardless of Edison, bringing down Garnacho, yes, he got a bit of the ball, but he cleans him out, and in my opinion, that should be a penalty. Again, maybe that changes the game at 1-1 and they go score again from that particular moment, and it becomes 2-1. And at that moment, you just see how certain heads are dropping and how we start looking like, this is a defeat. But we can't keep depending on the referees and the inconsistencies. It just doesn't go for us, and we cannot go into every game hoping that a decision is going to go for us. Ten Hag is under pressure, for sure. He cannot allow us to continually lose. But the performance in itself was not really a performance of, no, they didn't try. They actually tried. But the difference is that we are not good enough. We never could get close to them. They constantly had an extra man to pass to. And the way they pressurize us, the way they overload on certain sides and switch the play, and the way they move the ball in between the lines and having third man runs, it's just, it pains me to say, but it is beautiful football. And we certainly couldn't cope with it. especially with certain players not available, the likes of Hoyland, Martinez, etc. So Ten Hag, for one, cannot be blamed for that loss. That loss cannot be looked to be seen as a marker of, oh no, he's not good enough. He can't be the manager of Manchester United. That cannot be the case. We can't every time we lose think, he's not the one. But then when we win, we want to praise him for his tactics. We can't go from having a winning run, 6, 7 games in a row, and then one loss, and all of a sudden, oh no, he shouldn't be the man that must take Manchester United forward. Now, Ineos, Sir Jim, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, if he does come in, etc., they all might want to bring in a new manager. But it will be the same cycle being repeated, and the same players who should not be here for next season surely will get another opportunity and they will stay. Some of them are still under contract, and it would be easy for them to stay rather than find another club, especially if a new manager comes in. We cannot have that again. We simply are going to keep being behind. If Sir Jim and Ineos are smart, they would keep Ten Hag, back him. If you see what he has done at Ajax with the right players, with a proper squad, he certainly can be a manager that can take us forward, that can help us compete at the top. We've had so many injuries. We're changing our back four from game to game. There's no way he can try and put in any training in terms of types of play, playing out from the back, because he doesn't even have the players to do that in training. They are injured. You can't expect him to want to do these types of things with a Johnny Evans and a Lindelof at centre back in training when he wants a Varane and a Martinez who is capable of playing the ball out from the back. I'm not saying Johnny Evans and Lindelof can't. I'm just saying that they cannot play it out from the back at the level that Martinez and Varane did last season for us. We certainly cannot be blaming Ten Hag for the lack of quality in our squad that he has to work with. He can't, for the life of me, go to the Etihad and try and go toe-to-toe with City with the likes of McTominay in midfield, us playing with Bruno as a false 9, and at moments we literally had Lindelof at a left-back position, swapping with the low and all that. We simply... I made a very good statement on Twitter, X, whichever you want to call it, and I said that if anyone thinks that Julian Nagelsmann, Ruben Amorim, who else is there, Roberto De Zerbi, Zinedine Zidane, etc., whoever manager is being touted to replace Ten Hag as Ineos's #1 person, Graham Potter, which just makes me laugh all the time when I hear him being Ineos's #1 and all this. And if any of them, if you could think they were the ones who could go to Etihad against a Pep team right now with the squad that Ten Hag had on Sunday and try and win, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't happen. They wouldn't be able to play their style of football or even try and get a win because they would be destroyed because the players are not good enough. And until we get that into our heads, until some of our fan base realizes that we need a quality of player at the club as a standard in order to play any style of football, then we will start to judge our managers. But we cannot judge our managers on mediocre players who don't have the mentalities or even the quality at times to be at Manchester United. We know for a fact that some of the players should not be here, should have been sold, should have left years ago, but they are still here. Lindelof has been here since Mourinho. He's still here. Delot was a Mourinho signing. He's still here. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's been good for us this season, if not great. But these are players that have stayed at the club time and time again and should have been sold or moved on. It's a fact. Ahmad can't even get the game. The likes of Forsen and Anthony is coming on and they did nothing. That tells you everything with what is being done, the way the club is being run. Blame Ten Hag for not playing Ahmad, sure, that's on you. But you need to understand that Ten Hag is working with what he's got. Maybe he's protecting Ahmad because he sees what's happening on the pitch and he sees that putting a player like that in might just be at a detriment to Anthony, who is his boy, who he brought in for almost nearly £100 million. You know, it's just everything. And Ten Hag is under pressure, and he will be judged by the end of the season, if not before then. If we continue to lose, especially against lower teams, Everton coming up next, then he will have questions asked of him. Ineos will make the right decision because so far they've brought in top class, excellent people. Omar Barada, they're looking to get Dan Ashworth, Martin Edwards potentially, former Liverpool, head of recruitment. These are people that are going to come in and want to do well, not just for themselves, but for the club, so that it can be seen that their work is good. That it's not just talk, that they weren't appointed just for the sake of it. They would want to see their works being executed on the pitch. And if Ten Hag is the manager they are backing, then we certainly need to judge him only once he's fully backed. He's never been fully backed. No manager at this club since Sir Alex has ever been fully backed. David Moyes had to settle for Fellaini, but he wanted Toni Kroos. That says it all. So we need to be mindful of the fact that we cannot assess and put ourselves on the level of City, Liverpool, even Arsenal right now, because we are far from them. And we need to be realistic at that and understand that the structure behind Ten Hag, behind the manager, if he's not the manager, needs to be right first before we start seeing the pitch being sorted, before we start seeing the players doing well. We definitely need to be mindful that it is not just the manager that is at fault. It is not just the players. It was the entire structure under the Glazers that was not working. But we'll move on to Everton. We look forward playing at Old Trafford again. So that will definitely give us some form of confidence, and it will be better to play at home, even though we've been abysmal. But we'll speak about that in the preview when it does come. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when I do upload videos. Have a wonderful day further. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.